What is up, Retro Maniacs? Welcome to the Retro Card Chat Podcast. My name is Mike. You know where I'm from. And I'm joined by one guy that just had a birthday this past weekend and another guy who tried to destroy the channel last week. They are, of course, Joe Day and EP Eric Pahalik. How you doing, guys?
Doing good.
The question I have is, am I on the road?
You look like you're in a vacation house. Or did you move?
Trick question.
Oh, trick question.
I'm not on the road. I'm back, baby. I'm back. I got Spinning Kenny. I got Doctor Strange. I got Cards and Comics. I am back. It feels so good to be home. Oh, my God, boys. The chair, the comfy chair. The mic in the right spot. Oh, yeah. It feels good. I am back.
I'm so happy
future.
to see Kenny over your shoulder there.
Oh.
And did you put new batteries in that?
He's spinning at a regular rate, baby. New batteries.
He seems healthy today. Yeah.
Yes. Healthier than he looked playing week one. I will say that. And definitely healthier than Pitts looked the last 2 weeks. So, it's not all sunshine and rainbows here at the Day Estate.
Of course,
had some rough times.
It was Joe, spoiler, that celebrated the birthday this past weekend. How old are you, Joe? 27?
27 with let's see, about 26 years of experience. No,
sounds good.
16 years of experience.
Not good at math.
Carry the one. Yeah, 16 years of experience with that. I'm 43.
Wow.
Yeah,
well, happy belated birthday. Did you get my gift? I sent it.
Must still be in the mail because
probably,
it's
probably just
technically I guess Sunday morning, so I'm guessing it'll be here tomorrow. You viewers are
I'm
watching.
Sure, yeah.
I'm sure.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah.
I thought you were going to give me a Matthew Berry cameo. I'm not going to lie. Or not Matthew Berry.
Jeff Wilson,
which is kind of the Matthew Berry of cards.
If I had time, because I didn't find out about it in time to get it done. But yes, that was actually something I was considering doing.
I was very, very nervous about that, actually.
I reserve the right to pull that out sometime in the future randomly. So
yeah. Okay.
This might be the way to pay you back for running me over with a golf cart.
Again, you gotta let it go. Dude,
Never.
It's been so long.
You don't know me. I never let it go.
Oh, no, we know that. My EP and I know that for years.
Which is why I will be bringing up EP trying to destroy the Mike's Retro Trading Cards YouTube channel in perpetuity. So, yeah. EP, you had a rough week last week. Everybody was telling you how horrible the video you did was last week.
There was one comment that said it was horrible. When I think about that video, though, I think
feel like there were more.
I feel like if we had a competent title writer who would have put Allen and Ginter in there, we could have had a viral video. But unfortunately,
shots fired.
Unfortunately, we didn't.
Did we talk about Allen and Ginter? I don't remember.
We did. The entire video was about Allen Ginter, and somebody on this podcast said put it in the title. But
I gotta say, I'm gonna push back a little bit, Mike. I think it's one of the best videos we put out. I really appreciate EP thinking outside the box. Really, I mean, it was really something new, something exciting. All joking aside, it proves that we do not take ourselves, well, at least a couple of us, do not take ourselves that seriously. We like to have fun. We like to just joke around a little bit. So I appreciate the zaniness. Now, in the moment, I did not EP because it was like torture.
Well, the thing is,
watching it back, it kind of made me laugh.
The thing about Allen and Ginter is people love it or they hate it. And you are either on one side or the other, I feel like. And so I think that video was a good example of how the polarizing nature of the product.
I don't feel like my reaction had anything to do with Allen and Ginter. It was more the trick question.
That's because you're stuck inside your head. It's fine. Don't worry.
Yes, that was
you set us up from the get-go, and we called you out on it during the video. So yeah.
That one, the one multiple choice one should have had none of the above or all of the above. I should have included that,
But it was your joy in telling us it was a trick question that I can't get out of my head.
It was my joy in Allen and Ginter more so than I wasn't trying to get.
I do have to say the rewatch, the joy of EP was actually.
I know
it was killing me. I loved it. I loved
there's
it every time.
There's a set in that product. I'm so upset. There's a set in that product that has potentially dinosaur DNA. It's a relic set whether it's real or not, I don't know. I'm so excited, but I have to work on Friday and Saturday, and then Monday through Friday. So
you
buying
need
it is
Joe and I to rip it for you.
no, that's
what
what
you're
I want to do, but it's too much money to spend to not.
We'll live rip.
You're
not be
just a
able
flipper. Why
to
do
do
you
it.
care about ripping it? We'll do the work. You do the selling.
That's not how it works.
Wait, are you buying some Allen and Ginter?
I was gonna buy a case,
Trick
but
question.
I can't.
I know you're buying Allen and Ginter.
I'm actually probably won't be able to. I'm upset.
Oh,
So
goodness.
Well, then what are you going to buy?
I'm not buying anything. Probably. I don't know if maybe the case project is done. Maybe it's over.
Wow.
Breaking news. Boop, boop.
They got rid of archives.
Didn't even make it to Topps update. From
I
Topps Series 1 to Topps update. You're giving up that quick? Wow.
I mean, with work, I can't make it work. So
quit your job.
That's not the correct
Announced
solution.
today.
that is the bad solution
on the podcast.
Nope.
Breaking
not gonna
news.
do it.
EP. I heard is quitting.
We need a soundboard. We need a soundboard with
you. I have been looking into soundboards, so yeah, trust me. I'll figure that out one of these days. I'm not going to let you know, but I will. Yeah.
Boom.
Oh, well, I don't know how EP found the time, but he set up at our local card show at the Susquehanna Valley Mall yesterday as we're recording this. It was Saturday as you're watching this. And I'm just going to throw this out here. I had the most fun I have ever had at a card show yesterday when we were at that card show. I'll let you speak a little bit about your experience, EP. Joe, you weren't there. We have not told Joe anything about the shenanigans that went on yesterday, but yeah, he will be your surrogate. And EP, that was a pretty good day for you. I think you sold a lot of stuff.
I sold a lot of stuff, and as much as Joe wasn't there, he was there in spirit because there were multiple people asking,
where's Joe?
Where's the third guy? Where's Joe?
Yeah.
And the people bringing it, and just bringing up.
We even had one guy that wanted the rare triple autograph card of the three of us, and he was very disappointed Kevin. Joe wasn't there.
We need to get that done. We need to produce that.
We do.
No, I had a blast. You guys said about how did I find the time? Well, I got 2 hours sleep, and it was pretty rough. It was better than the last time when I had 0 hours sleep for the last show that I went to. But this one, 2 hours sleep. But I got there set up, and it was a lot of fun. Carried a lot of boxes a long way from the parking lot, and I'm probably gonna get a dolly for the next show. I am spoiler, like I've already told people I'm gonna go to the next show, so that's definitely a thing.
When's the next show?
November 16th, November 18th, something like that. It's a week, like mid-November is the next show. So yeah, but I had like Mike said, I just had so much fun talking to the people buying stuff, talking to the other dealers there, talking to the people that were running the show, and just like it was just a really fun time hanging out with Mike. And I mean, Amy was there.
Yeah, my wife. She went too.
Yep. She was out.
She would pop in and out, make her jokes and then leave. Yeah, she's the Costanza. I'm out.
The crop duster of the group, Amy, where she would just come in. Drop a joke.
Absolutely.
But you could tell some customers were there looking for like more expensive cards, or some people are looking for $1 cards. Then the people that discovered that my 10-cent box was a 25-cent box, but 10 for $1, like it was a 10-cent box, and just interacting with everybody. And there was one guy who didn't buy anything, but he was probably there for maybe 25 minutes, like a half hour at the end of the show, when things are really slow, but he was just there chatting up me and the two like senior, like high school seniors that were next to us that were set up for the first time ever. And
Lucas seniors setting up at the card
show. I think Lucas and Hunter. Yeah, they were. They were a lot of fun. They were fun. They
are new subscribers to our channel too. Let me interject here because EP was wearing a Mike's Retro Trading Cards t-shirt, but not promoting the channel any further. He was around Lucas and Hunter all morning. Yet it took me explaining to them who we were,
Did they know who we were?
I just assumed they knew. I should assume they saw it.
That's fair.
Yeah. All right.
So they were like, "Oh, what's your channel?" And boom, both of them right there on the spot. Subscribe to the channel. Hopefully they're watching.
They definitely are. They said they were going to. I believe they were going to. They were excited when we were all packing up and leaving.
Shout out to Lucas and Hunter. Although Hunter Hunter left halfway through the day. So really, shout out to Lucas.
Right.
He did all the work. Lucas's brother Ethan, I believe it was, had to come and fill in for Hunter. Hunter was like, okay, we sold a couple cards. I have to go watch my brother's soccer game or something like that. Weak excuse. Come on, do better.
They had to drag Lucas away from the table at one point because he just wouldn't leave. Like I'm here to work at the table. Like he didn't leave to like go to the bathroom or get anything to eat. And then I believe it's probably his parents. I'm pretty sure it was his parents. Like were there, and like definitely because he said it was his mom. But they were there, and his mom offered to sit at the table while he could leave for a while. And he just I don't want to leave my stuff. I don't want to leave the stuff. So that's how soldier. He was there.
That's how mom accidentally sells like a $20,000 Tom Brady card for like $1,000.
If you remember, we've seen what can happen when you leave the table.
Well, but the mom even said they're all labeled. Look, they all have prices on it. Just go do your thing. Like I can handle this, but he refused. It was a good time, and I'm not sure. We can get into a lot of stuff about it. They had a Steve Young rookie card. They had some of Lucas's cards were a Steve Young rookie card and a card that had a Steve Young auto and a Joe Montana auto and jersey cards and a dual auto jersey. I think that was numbered to 25. I was like, that's a really cool card. He was asking $200 for it, which is probably a reasonable price. I said, but you're probably better off trying to sell something like that on eBay because the San Francisco connection with those two guys. But I mean, they had some really cool stuff in their. It wasn't all like super high end stuff. Like they had a good mix of stuff. A lot of modern stuff.
And they had sold when I went up to the table, they had said like their last two sales were like $100 and $120 card. So, but they also. These were high school kids and they had a lot of modern stuff, but they had a dollar box and I took a little time to go through it. I got that.
Wow.
Fantastic.
Awesome.
I got this Troy Aikman insert.
Very cool.
And this was my favorite purchase, I think maybe of the day.
Oh yeah.
I love these cards for $1. Thank you. Yes, absolutely. Yep. So sorry to interrupt you there, EP, but I wanted to show off the cool stuff that they have.
That Hollow View one is pretty banging.
The absolute coolest moment for those two guys, though, did you know, Mike, that they built that case themselves? The big case they had, the big wooden case?
I did not hear that, no.
I believe they spent $25-ish on materials. I think their grandfather owns a lumberyard, and their uncle has a wood shop. So they built this themselves, and Joe, if you so it was a massive case, had the nice felt in it. It was like really, really professional looking, like really, really, really nice. They looked really sturdy. They used oak wood for it. Somebody came up and we were talking about it, and the guy that was there for like 30 minutes at the very end. He actually took down a bunch of trading cards, put it in his phone, and said, "Yep, we're on Spotify, all that sort of stuff." So like potentially another subscriber. Hopefully he's there. But he was asking about their case and said, "How much if you make one for me?" And they were like, well, if I give you $50, could you make one for me? And they were like, he was going to find his wife and kids to see if they were going to leave or whatever. And Lucas like calls Hunter and says, "Hey, like, I think we should just give him this case now for $50. So they had made this case themselves for this show.
Wow.
Sold it at the show for an extra $50. And then I was like, you guys should make an extra one next time and bring it and sell it for like $100 or $75. If you try to buy one online, they're like $150. So that was like, that was the biggest win of the day. Like they could probably make an extra one of these every show and sell at least one a show and get extra money, pay for their tables just with that. Like,
it was really, really cool. Like, because I hung out at EP's table a lot. Like, here we are, two older guys. We were into cards in the 90s, and these are two high school age kids. And like, we all got along so well. Like, I think they were highly entertained by our antics before, I'll get into those in a little bit. But yeah, that's the really cool thing. Like, we were talking to our viewer, Kevin, the guy who set up the card show that you set up last time, EP. Like, he's right that like the social aspect of like these local shows, like there were 50, 60 tables maybe at the show. Not huge, but not little, but like you get to know each other and like, you get to know the other dealers. And like, I walk around there every time now and I see the same guys and I go to their tables and I talk to them, and you develop these connections and the relationships with other nerdy people that are into this nerdy hobby, just like nerdy you and nerdy me. And like, that's the
Nerds.
really cool thing. Like, again, we went to the National. I had nowhere near as much fun at the actual card show, all the extra stuff the three of us did hanging out and going to the casinos and stuff aside. But like going to the actual show, I have so much more fun at a local show. And that's why, like, I love that part of the social aspect of it. Like getting to tell everybody there how EP, instead of just pulling the cards he knows I want to buy, he throws them into boxes and sits there laughing and enjoying every minute of me sitting there going through the box to try to find the cards he knows I want to buy. I told every other dealer I talked to about that. But yeah, it's like, it's
way
really
to do it,
cool.
EP. Good job. Well done.
Yeah,
No
and
notes.
like I don't want to deny him that enjoyment, so I play along. But yeah, like the social aspect of it is so cool, and hopefully people watching have that same experience. If you don't go to a small local show, start going to them. Like just talk to the people there, because like I think there's a perception in this hobby, like about shows, that everybody's just there to sell their $5,000 PSA graded Justin Herbert cards, and it's really not like that. There are some guys there like that, but at your local show, you're going to just find a lot of people like you that love cards that will be happy to talk about the cards with you.
Right. If you're at a local show, if they have cards like that, like you said, EP, there's a good chance they're probably on eBay, those cards, and they're not, going to the Susquehanna Valley Mall. And like, I will say, I went the last, probably a few months ago now at this point. And the great thing about it was, I know some people feel like intimidated going up to dealers, and especially at big card shows. It's not like that at a small card show. Everyone's just friendly. They, maybe they own a card shop. Maybe they just are a big collector. It's not these people that go to the setup at the Dallas Card Show and, they don't have prices on their things. They make you ask them, what they are, and you have to know everything, about the card, which you should. But I'm just saying that it's not a welcoming environment as much as it is at a local show, for sure.
Much less personal.
Yeah.
Some of the things like, go ahead.
I do want to get into a little bit of the shenanigans here, because I just want to say EP said how little sleep he got, which he got the 2 hours. He was less zombie-like than he was at the other card show, which was fun. And
less zombie-like.
And he was a little hyped up on caffeine. And I also ended up being a little hyped up on caffeine because I had a Starbucks on the way there. I didn't drink it all, but I drank some. And then my wife was gracious enough to run to a Starbucks there, got EP and I both more caffeine. And then, Lucas's brother, Ethan, brought Taco Bell. And Lucas didn't like Baja Blast, but Ethan had gotten him one. So they had an extra one. I'm like, well, that looks really good. They gave it to me because big star.
The biggest win of the show right there.
Biggest win of the show. But yeah, I was like, okay, I had 2 Starbucks. I really don't need Mountain Dew, but I drank it anyway. And I just want to point out that I was going through a box of cards. This is going to sound like complete BS, but this is a 100% true story. I'm going through cards. Like, I'm just flipping through them really fast, looking. It had a lot of modern stuff, so I'm flipping through looking for older stuff, 90s. And as I'm flipping through really fast, I go past a card, get a couple past. I'm like, was that Pee Wee Herman? I thought I saw a Pee Wee Herman card. So I'm like, well, that's pretty cool. I might need to check that out. I go back. It was Noah Fant.
How the hell do you confuse Pee Wee Herman and Noah Fant?
Tight end for the Seattle
nothing alike.
They do look nothing alike.
Like, throw up a picture of each so people know how not alike they look.
But I saw he was wearing a suit in the card, and my caffeine affected brain, my brain processed that I saw Pee Wee Herman suit, but I don't think the suit even looked like it. But yeah, it was Noah Fant. True story.
I had the same reaction. Like, how is this even possible? But then when he said he was in the suit, I was like, all right, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I can still see that.
You were like, just like caffeine. You're like, yeah, okay, I get it.
Yep.
Yeah, we were a little hyped up and a little turned
I'm
up
Googling
to
Noah
9 or
Fant in
10.
a suit just to see how much he looks like Pee Wee Herman.
If you find the card, let me know. I'll share it on the screen there. But yeah. Okay, so the real question is, though, EP, how'd you do? Are you going to share your details?
Yes,
Okay,
for sure.
Awesome.
I spent pretty much all of my free time. Work's been a few extra hours here and there lately, but I made a profit of $355, which I feel is pretty.
Wait, how
pretty
many
nice
hours
for
were
a couple
you there?
hours. Actually, I was there till like 5. A lot of people had been closing up, but there was a guy that was like a kind of straggler, and at one point he actually. This was the guy who found the stash that I put in my 10-cent box that Mike never found.
I didn't know there was a stash.
I found there's a handful of Griffies and some.
Can I say I spent an hour and a half going through one 3,200 count baseball card box he has. So yeah, hour and a half.
Yeah, and so. I think you took like half of that box too, or at least a third of that box. Yeah. But anyhow, he's going through and he's like, I'm not even a football collector, but
that's what I bought from EP right there. This is what I bought from EP.
Wow.
Okay. Anyway.
Yeah, the guy's like, I'm not even a football or basketball collector, but he's like, and then he's at a couple points, he's like shaking his head, puts a couple more down. So he's just going through them. So yeah, he ended up, I think I told you guys, what was it? Like 80 some cards, I think is what he ended up taking out of there, something like that. But anyhow, this is straggler. And he's like, at one point, he's like, can I have one of those chairs? So he went through every card. Then he went through again, and like everybody's shutting down. He's like, I'm not holding you up, am I? I'm like, I don't think they're going to kick me out until like 5, I think is what it is. So you're good. So I let him go. And so yeah, it was
so wait a
fun.
minute. So $350 profit, right?
355. It was like 355 and like 75. There were one kid and his brother came over at one point, and I was talking about how I ate a piece of gum from 1987 Tops. And I had some 1990 Bowman and 91 Bowman there. And I said, you know what?
Them to channel to see.
Yeah, right. You can watch that video.
Yeah, you could have picked out, if it's a short, could have just thrown it right up there.
I did not do that, but I did sell them the packs for 25 cents that had some of the gum in it, because I said, I got some packs right here with it. And then one guy actually ate some of the gum right there.
He was like,
he was not enjoying it whatsoever.
Love it.
But then the younger kid came back and bought like another. He said, I got another quarter and bought another pack of it, just because he wanted to have another pack of this awesome gum from back in the day.
All right, now hold on, EP. Hold on.
Yeah.
Okay, I have my calculator app here.
Okay.
So $355.
Yes.
Okay, and then how many hours did you work?
Did I work on the cards or
just for the show? At the show.
Got there probably about 8, and I was there till 5. So
like 9 hours. Is that 9 hours?
Is that what that would be? Yeah. Sure.
All right, hold on. Let me calculate it here. Hold on. Almost done. And yes, you should quit the paper, and you should work exclusively on cards. Is what this calculator is telling me.
It's really is that what it says?
It says.
Would you like to take this time to make a special announcement to the daily item?
No, I'm not making any sort of announcement to the daily item whatsoever.
I can totally just like edit out the sound there and say, yes, I am quitting the paper.
It'll sound like me. It'll be his face, but it'll be my voice. And my second question is, it sounds like you didn't really promote our channel that much.
I did.
How much did you promote the other channel or the other podcast that you have? More.
I did not promote it at all, but the one guy who listens to our show, he came up and was talking to me and picked up a couple of his Pokemon cards for his kids.
Did you say to him, "Oh, by the way, I'm also on another show, and you can subscribe to that channel"?
He's aware. I'm sure he follows.
Better show.
So, I mean, we're not award winning yet, so I don't know if we want to say better. It's so.
Trick question. We are better.
I don't need an award if we have way more people totally watching, listening. So, well, one thing I do want to show, like EP and my dad's both passed away quite some time ago. And, when we had the shop, we've had this fantasy football league for 27 years. Did I say now? 28? What are we in this
1996 was our first draft and first season.
So, one of the things EP gave me was an Albert Connell card. And this card is near and dear to me because his dad beat me in a fantasy football championship game because of Albert Connell. And I shared with EP that I have a very vivid memory of his dad coming into my shop. I remember I was standing right inside the door, like behind the counter at the register. His dad was right outside the door at the register. And like, just like, I won't, like, I can't get his dad's reaction to how ridiculous it was. Like, he knew it was absolutely ridiculous that he beat me because of Albert Connell. But like, that moment, like, that we shared,
Is that
like,
League 2?
No, it was League 3.
League 3.
League 3.
And like
short hairs,
specifically, like, is entrenched in my memory. Like, I remember it like I was just there yesterday. So really cool memory. Like, and just again, this is what cards do. Like, give me this dumb little card of this player that most people don't even remember, and it can trigger a memory. And that's like, this is what this is all about. Like, it's not all about making money. Remember, sometimes these things can be a link to people that you don't even have anymore, which is really cool. So just wanted to bring that up. Go ahead.
I also want to say, like, the same thing is for the card shows. Like, if you are very passionate about this hobby, and if you have extra cards that you want to sell, or if you just want to set up at the show just to set up and maybe not sell anything, maybe buy some stuff, like, it's a different experience. You unlock more experiences. Like, there was another guy that was sitting behind us and to like over my left hand shoulder, and he was a little bit older guy, a little bit older than me and Mike, but he had like vintage tobacco stuff. But he goes to all sorts of shows. He was going to Pittston next weekend, and he goes to all sorts of shows. He's from Carlisle, but he came up to this show. And he has been buying more modern stuff because people want some of that. So he's got a case of modern stuff, and he's got his tobacco cards. And there's another person directly behind me who so this show ran a pretty wide spectrum. The guy behind me had I believe it was a basketball signed by Michael Jordan, and then like Jordan shoes signed by Michael Jordan, and that they were selling for, I want to say, like 18,000 and like 20,000. They had them in glass cases.
By Rick?
Probably they were in glass cases, but I mean they had them there. They were set up, and then the guy right next to me also had a bunch of like a Lawrence Taylor autograph full size helmet, a bunch of mini helmets autographed. Like, it was a wild collection of characters, and I feel like you can unlock some really cool experiences if you find a way into that little compartment.
Maybe I'll bring a 3,200 box for the November show, drop it at your table, and work the table, split the cost of the table with you. You never know.
We should all do it. Like, we should get two tables and all do it together. That would be fantastic.
Yeah.
Like, that way, Joe, you and I wouldn't have to bring much, because like he could fill most of it up, but we could hang out.
We'll bring a couple of boxes, we'll hang out, and maybe people bring stuff for us to buy, look at and buy.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. All right. Well, wanted to take a little bit of time to talk about that, because like I said, I had more fun than I can ever remember having at a card show. And like, what a great experience to have. Like, I even said to my wife, like, I thanked her. I'm like, she had fun too. Like, I never would have thought my wife would go to a card show with me, put up with me being there, 3.5, 4 hours. I don't even know how long. I was there for a long time and didn't like get mad about it. She very much enjoyed it too. So
also
cool.
Before we move on, I also want to thank Mike. There was a point where, like, I had 2 cups of coffee. I hadn't gone to the bathroom at all. I said, Mike, can you please just watch my table while I go to the bathroom? And he's like, yes. And then toward the end I realized that you and Amy had been there for quite a while at that point. And toward the end of you guys being there, I was like, can you just watch the table for a little bit so I run and can look at a couple cards? Like that's it. Just want to look at something other than my cards for a little bit today. And I ended up coming back with a Tiki Barber autograph, but I just want to thank Mike for that a lot. Like, that was a lifesaver, because I don't think I would have been like Lucas, and I wouldn't have left the table if he wouldn't have been there. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
And his looking at a couple cards ended up to be like a half hour worth of looking at cards. Like, Amy even looked at me at one point, was like, is he coming back? I was like, yeah, I don't really know. All right. Well, let's move on a little bit. Not a whole lot going on in the hobby this week. That's why, I wanted to take some time to talk about the card show, because we're about cards at the end of the day. And I feel like sometimes on the pod, we talk too much about hobby issues and don't talk about the love of cards. So,
well, Mike, speaking of the love of cards, I think you should mention, before we get into the news of the week, our Friday show. The first of a new series.
Wow, good catch there, Joe.
Breaking
because
news.
somebody is old and totally didn't remember to talk about it.
I'm a spry 43, so I was ready.
You are. Starting this Friday, we will be dropping our new weekly episode. We've been talking about trying to come up with a short little topic for a third show. We dropped the podcast on Monday. We drop our what we call the B show on Wednesday, and we wanted another one to drop on Friday. So this week, we're finally dropping our new show. It's going to be 3 cards you need to have in your PC. We're not going to tell you about cards that are $10,000. What the point of this little video is to quickly, each one of us will give you 1 card every week from the 90s, a retro kind of card, and just a cool looking card. Maybe a card people don't know about. Maybe something that we feel should be more valuable than it is. Maybe something with a really cool picture on it. Just something unique and fun that we feel like every collector that's into this kind of stuff that we're into might enjoy to have in their PC. So we're going to try to throw some options out there and hopefully help you build your PC for pretty cheap, really.
Yeah, really
way
cheap.
Less than a Justin Herbert card. So yeah, check that out on Friday. We'll try to get that dropped at 7 a.m. because that's when I like to drop stuff. So I'm a morning.
Well before I'm awake.
Absolutely.
Well before he goes to bed from work.
Right.
All right. So finally, Fanatics has responded to the antitrust lawsuit. Talk about this a little bit. All this information came from Paul Lesko, of course. Paul Lesko, I know you don't watch the podcast, but people want you on 8 questions. We need to get you on.
Yes.
But just a couple points that I found in it. First of all, basically Fanatics' defense is like Panini is not a victim of antitrust. They're a victim of competition, which is, something we've talked about all these points, but this is their response. Also that Panini are hypocrites because, they're complaining that one company is going to control markets that one company has been controlling. So again, another point we made, this is all common sense, but, yeah, they agree with it there. And my big point that I've been saying long before there was even a lawsuit is that Panini is trying to control what licensees can do with their license, like their own intellectual property. They're trying to force companies to use their intellectual property in the way they want them to use them, and legally that they should not have any right to do so. Another thing that was really weird, we need to talk about this one. Panini is claiming that it is being affected in 8 markets by Fanatics having 3 licenses. They're claiming baseball high-end, baseball low-end, basketball high-end, basketball low-end, football high-end, football low-end, and then an overarching kind of combination high-end and low-end market of all 3 together that does not factor in anything that's not baseball, football, or basketball high-end or low-end. So I want to get your thoughts on that to begin with.
Well, it's kind of ironic that Panini is complaining about the high-end stuff, considering they just released Flawless.
Well, they're claiming that the high-end market and the low-end market are 2 separate markets.
Well, that's ridiculous. Yeah. I didn't even think we had to talk about that. Did we have to talk about that?
That's what they're saying. Yeah.
I want to talk about that. But, go ahead.
Well, my point is, it's such a ridiculous claim, but there are different types of collectors, but Panini, unfortunately, has made everything high-end. Like nothing's really low-end with Panini. Yeah. And yes, there is Score. Right. There is.
Everybody says, yeah, what about Score?
Right. But if you're saying Score is the low end and you're still charging multiple hundreds of dollars for that product, is it really low end at that point? Like maybe it should be high end, ultra ridiculous high end should be the categories, because there is no low end right now for Panini products. There absolutely is not.
one of the problems with Score, and I used to love Score, and I guess I kind of still do a little bit, but the problem with that is you're still paying a significant amount of money, like way too much money for what you get out of it, financially, you're not going to get anything worth, like, at least with some of the stuff, the high end stuff, you're hoping to get something that's worth a little bit of money to make some of your money back. But with Score, I feel like you don't really have a chance of making any of your money back on that. So you're just looking, so you can have to look at it as a fun rip, but it's still going to be, if it's a fun rip for $300 or $500.
Yeah, there's no such thing as a fun rip for $300 or $400.
Right.
It just makes you feel bad about yourself after you get down to the last pack, and your best auto is some random third round offensive lineman. It just, I've said this about when we talk about ripping non-sports cards, right? I feel fine after spending a couple $100 on a box of non-sports cards because I've enjoyed the journey. With Score or something like that, you're like going through the base cards. If you watch rips of it, people just skip the base cards completely and then go to where the inserts start and then look at those 5 or 6 cards and then skip the rest of the base cards, because it's not enjoyable. It's not a fun rip to sit there and go through those cards, because you are, as it's like taking a car off the lot. As soon as you break that seal, you've just lost $400. And then you have other products that are $400, $500, $600 that are one pack. So it's like 5 cards. And we were talking about this before, and this happened with the Bowman U Inception 2, which I know is Fanatics product, but these one pack products where you get like one of the big cards out of it, and the value is still not as high as what you paid for the pack. Yeah. I do not understand how that works. Like, it was encased, I want to say, or it was Panini 1. They pulled a Kenny Pickett RPA before the season, and he stunk up week 1. But they pulled a really, really good Kenny Pickett card, which you would think is one of the product hits. That's what you're looking for. It was barely worth what the actual Panini 1, which is one card, actually sold for. So I'm with you, EP. Like, you're not going to get your money back when you rip it, and you can't look at something like that as a fun rip, right? Like, it just makes you feel sad afterwards.
Just two more reactions to your introduction to this topic, Mike. One, when you said the word hypocrites, like, I was like, I wanted to scream out the word preach, because that is exactly what this whole thing is. Like what are they trying to do? Like, it's wild. And then I feel like, do you think there's a lawyer? Like, do you think the lawyer is just up there laughing, writing this thing about, like, trying to just put the most ridiculous things you can in there? Just go ahead, we're going to do this and this, and the lawyer's like, are you serious? Well, they're paying me for it, so I guess all right.
Yeah, exactly. I feel like it's a payday.
Yeah.
Oh, well, one other point in here too I wanted to bring up, because I thought it was interesting. EP, you had made the point where Panini was complaining about the fact that with Fanatics investing in GCP, the printer, that they were only letting them use half of the print lines, right? Yeah. And which seemed utterly ridiculous to begin with, but it turns out, like, Fanatics is saying that not only did their investment not hurt Panini, it actually helped them, because they have not increased the price to them. They've increased the volume that they've been able to get out, which, if you look at their product releases, absolutely backs up the fact that they're releasing way more product now that they only have half than they were when they had most of them, and like that the quality is now better for Panini. So like, and their point too, that even if they didn't invest in the company, since they own a company that makes baseball cards, they will already be competing with them for, GCP's lines that they're, so like, yeah, I found it funny, but like, I do believe Fanatics that they've helped them get more product out. I think they're making the volume come out better, and Panini's releasing way more products, especially now that they're losing the football. Did you see the list of products? They have like 8,000 coming out in the next 20 days. So like I feel like the fact that Panini is pushing all this football product out is really going to hurt their claim there too. So just wrapping it all up, like, this seems more and more like a joke. Like, I thought it was a joke at first, but like, seeing the response to stuff like that, like the printing stuff, I could see people going, well, yeah, okay, well, that's not fair that they're doing that. And then when you kind of get, well, yeah, but we're helping you get more product out, isn't that really at the end of the the day all they're trying to do? Like, wouldn't you rather be able to put 20 sets out with half of the print lines, or would you want to put 10 out having like 3/4 of them? Like, you want the 20. So it doesn't really matter how many you're using, it's how much product they're putting out. So like, I don't know. I thought this was a joke.
I'm going to push back on one thing though. The quality has improved. I'm pushing back. The quality's improved. Have you watched rips recently? Panini's products, the quality control is still terrible. I don't know what everything else is completely true. I completely agree with, but watching some recent rips of some recent products, I don't know if it's a Panini problem or this printing company's problem, but the quality control is still horrendous with Panini. Well, so that's not a great thing.
One of the issues with printing, I think, too, is that if you print long enough, like if you have print enough cards, like if you have a huge print run, the quality is gonna go down toward the end, I believe, because it's running too long and like your registration is going to be off, all that sort of stuff. I feel like at the beginning you're able to move your registration and make things better, but I feel like the more and more you go, it gets worse and worse. So I feel like there's a lot of things in this situation, this whole thing. We work as like sitcom. You can put a laugh track behind half of the stuff we talk about, and it would actually be funny. Like you said, Mike, it's a total joke. Like you could put a laugh track behind stuff. It's ridiculous.
All right. Well, I saw the new Bowman University football for 2023 is going to have Shedeur Sanders and Travis Hunter in the sets. I mean, say what you want about the Colorado Buffaloes. I don't know if you watched the game this weekend. They had a tough one with Colorado State, but holy cow, is Deion Sanders not great for college football? Mm-hmm. Anybody who thinks so, I'm sorry, you're wrong. Like, and those guys in particular are getting so much hype. Like, I feel like Bowman U football might be really popular this year, don't you think?
Absolutely.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see, especially with Sanders probably pushing his kid to try and be the Heisman. Let's be fair. I mean, he's going to do everything he can to make sure.
There are a lot of coaches that try to push their.
Oh yeah, Heisman, but so I mean,
not like he's not doing anything other head coaches don't.
Right. Yeah. I'd be shocked if they were inside the 5.
Deion will just be saying it. Yeah. Deion, that's what I love about Deion. Like, he doesn't pull the normal coach crap. Like, everybody knows what the coaches are doing. He just says it. Like, instead of trying to make people believe that, oh, well, we're just trying to play the game to win. No, you're trying to do this to get your player in the first round of the NFL draft or win the Heisman or
So here's the question. How many more years does his son have at Colorado before he's eligible to be
I'm
not sure.
The answer is however many years. How long Deion Sanders will be the coach of Colorado will be how long until his son is out of Colorado, and then Deion Sanders will be a head coach in the NFL. I'm calling it now.
I mean, wouldn't be surprising.
Would you be shocked if an ownership was like, "Oh, we'll draft the son, and then we'll hire Deion"? Like, I wouldn't put it past any owner thinking of themselves not in wins and losses, but in financial windfall. Like, could you imagine how cool that would be to have Deion Sanders as your head coach and then his son as your starting quarterback? That would at least get some buzz. Back to the original question, though. Yeah, this is Bowman U is going to be it's going to be bumping because of the Sanders, especially. Unfortunately, it's one of those products again that will lose value as professional products come out. I'm interested to see if maybe Fanatics tries to do dual autos or something down the line with Deion.
But I know EP and we're Bowman first guys, so I still think that down the line when Fanatics has the football license, Bowman first will have some kind of value to it.
There'll definitely be some juice there. And talking about like coaches' kids, and like a lot of times coaches' kids are good at sports. So, like at least 50-50. We'll say probably better than 50-50 probably. But in this case, we've got this kid who is, I mean, I haven't seen him play, so I'm not sure. But like that, you look at what he's doing on the field and what the numbers he's putting up, and it's very impressive. And if Deion Sanders is part of the brain trust behind making that happen, like I feel like that's like the kind of thing that there's probably going to be a lot of juice behind the kid. And when he goes to the pros, and I mean, I could totally see an NFL team making that move to bring him in just because of what could potentially happen in Colorado. Obviously, it's only been 4 games or whatever. But I mean, so far there's so much buzz and so much like juice there. Like it's going to be. I agree. Like Bowman U football, it's going to be. You wonder what the price is going to be when it comes out. Like, because I mean, they could probably put a pretty hefty price on it. People will buy it.
Yeah. All right. Well, I know we're not much for the golden marketplace. Again, we don't play in that field very much, but they announced new fees this week, which was kind of interesting. This isn't really so much about golden, but I want to take a bigger perspective look at it. They're now going to charge a 5% fee to anybody selling a card under $2,500, but there's an extra $5 fee if you sell a card under $50. So that right there is clearly saying they want to get rid of the like low end stuff from their marketplace. The sellers won't pay any fees if it's a card from 2,500 to 7,500. And if you're selling 7,500 and up, you'll actually get 5% extra on the sale of your card, because now they're going to be charging a 22% buyer's premium. I'm not buying from Golden. Like, I mean, people complain about eBay fees and the 13%, but you got to figure that if this website is charging 22% for the buyer to buy it, that's going to be 22% less you're going to get for the sale, because they're not going to pay a comp plus 22%. That's not how it works. So, like, it's crazy that amount. I mean, I'm not giving 22% more than my bid on a card.
Well, the buyer's premium, to your point, Mike, it's like you don't even realize it as the seller how it's like it's a shell game. You know, like I can't believe that someone would believe that, oh, they're not paying attention to that.
Oh, I'm going to get 5% extra if I sell my card here. Yeah.
Right.
Whew. Yeah. But the big point I want to take out of this is, like, we keep hoping as a hobby that somebody might compete with eBay. You know, talk about fees. I've mentioned it before. They're ideal in musical instruments and stuff like that too. And there's a gigantic website called Reverb that charges way less. So eBay charges less than 13. They're like 8 to 9% for that type of thing because they have competition. They only charge the fees they do because they don't have competition in those markets. So, you know, you'll notice with like sneakers and stuff too, they'll charge a lower fee because there are a lot of other marketplaces that sell collectible sneakers. But Golden clearly doesn't want to compete with eBay. They're like, let them take all that low end stuff. We only want like the elite stuff to be sold here. And, you know, we know Fanatics bought PWCC. Do we have any hope that maybe Fanatics might want to build a marketplace that could compete with eBay? Or is eBay always going to be the place where if you have a card $100 and under, you have to go there to sell it?
I feel like I think the PWCC purchase was to create a marketplace. I really do. I think that my thoughts on like the initial part of this, I feel like those numbers are all of that is wrong with this hobby. Yeah. If you're looking at like if your cutoff is 2,500 and above, and then 7,500, like what are you doing? And then if you're saying, oh yeah, if you're $50 or less, we're gonna charge you an exorbitant fee. So there's no way you can use this feature. Yeah. I mean, they're obviously they're gatekeeping, trying to make sure to keep those out for sure. But I mean, if PWCC comes in and they hopefully if Fanatics comes in with PWCC, and that is their goal, is to create a marketplace that can compete with eBay, like they have to come in with a fees lower than that, and they can't do anything crazy like trying to charge a $5 fee for cards under $50. And that they would. I don't think that PWCC could compete with Golden in that area. So if that's their plan, then that'd be interesting to see. But it's probably, in my opinion, might be a waste.
Yeah, I think so. I'm wondering what PWCC will actually sell. Will it be a completely full marketplace where you can sell any card, or is it like a Fanatics exclusive kind of thing? How that will work out? Right. I mean, I think if they're getting a fee from it, I don't think they're going to care what you sell on it.
They break tops,
right. They're making money on it,
so I don't anticipate that the marketplace would be.
Though to be fair, in a couple of years, there's going to be no non-tops products to really break. So like they're doing this to make money now. I don't know if they break non-sports or if they break Upper Deck or whatever. So, I'm not sure about that. But I do think that, eBay has such a stranglehold because, we talked about this before, the amount of eyeballs, like even if like the really keyed in card folks say, I'm leaving eBay and I'm going to go to PWCC or whatever. Like my slabs even tried. Like my slabs, I've looked at my slabs and there's some cool stuff on there that the seller fees are actually quite a bit cheaper. But like it just doesn't get the traction because it doesn't get you need to be a hardcore card person to know what my slabs is. You don't need to go to eBay. You could be a casual buyer, have a couple of feedback, 2-3 feedback, and you can still go on eBay and you can find what you're looking for. The eyeballs are just you can't compete with that. I don't think any company will. They're going to pair off some of the people, but honestly, for the three of us, even if we were going to PWCC and looking at the cards there, it's not like we're not going to look at cards on eBay too. Like it's not like, oh, hey, we're going to leave eBay now and go to PWCC and just buy cards. No, we're going to look at eBay. We're going to look at ComC. We're going to look at My Slabs. We're going to look at PWCC. We're not going to look at Golden, but because that's not our sandbox.
Yeah.
But you get my meaning, right? Like it's not like we're not going to use the other ones. And I don't think it's ever going to be competition enough to get eBay to be like, oh my God, we have to drop down to 10%, fees for the seller. I think they're going to just keep doing what they're doing.
I do think any sort of competition is good though. Like if they can rival a little bit, like any competition makes companies do things differently and makes them look for ways to keep their customers and get new customers. So even a little bit of competition, and maybe they can steal some ideas if there's somebody with some new ideas at PWCC too. So I mean, again, I agree 100% with you, Joe, but I also would like to see some competition there. Like that's important in my opinion.
Pessimist. Optimist.
Well, Fanatics is definitely a big enough company that if they want to make a marketplace where it'll be more inclusive to all ends of the hobby, that they could compete with eBay. Like, Golden's owned by collectors. Yeah, in our little world, they're a pretty big company, but again, they're not anywhere near the size of a company like Fanatics. So, it's going to take somebody that's willing to invest a lot of money in a marketplace like that. But I mean, I don't know. It seems like everybody just kind of gears toward the upper end of it. They want to sell those $1 million cards, $100,000 cards. They don't care about the $5 card, right, which I understand from a business standpoint. Yeah. But still, if you're going to run the hobby, like you need to find a sandbox for the rest of us to play in.
Well, that's a good question. I mean, do they even care about that sandbox?
Probably not.
I mean,
financially, it's probably not worth it.
Since episode 1, 10x the hobby. Does that mean 10x the number of collectors? I don't think so. I think it means 10x the number of dollars for their shareholders. I mean, I don't see any other way around that, and it sucks for folks like sweet little EP who just wants a $1 card.
What percentage of collectors do you think are like us, where it is like $500 or less, or like even for me, like $50 or less? Like what's what percentage of people are the ultra high end? Which percentage are
I think it's really a lot, because if you go on eBay, look at all the cards that people buy for we know 50, a lot of bulk sellers on eBay that sell tons of cards, all of them. Like, so people are buying $1 cards, $2 cards. Not everybody has a card shop they can go to that has like a $1 box or 50-cent box there. And like a lot of people do buy that way. So I feel like, we may not add to like the total revenue of the hobby as much as the people buying the $1 million cards, but there are way more people us
I completely
buying
agree.
That lower stuff.
I think 95% of the people in the hobby are more like us, but 5% has 95% of the value, right? That 5% that's left over, in terms of if you add up all the cards at the National, right, that are in those cases, they probably have 95% of the actual monetary value of the hobby, where we have 95% of the people.
Yeah.
So
and that goes hand in hand with, like, I think Dustin had a video about it this week, and it's like, people talking about the market being down and stuff, but like record number of people attending card shows. It's yeah, the total number of dollars that are being spent is probably down because you don't have all the people that came into the hobby just to make quick bucks out of it. That's why the cards were like $1 million and stuff. They were never worth that, but people with money came in and took advantage of our hobby for a short period of time when they could, and they got out. Like, this is nothing new. It happens everywhere, but there are more people in the hobby. So maybe the overall numbers are down, but like, it's a good thing when you have people going. We talked about this card show. There were a lot of people walking around a little half empty mall that had 50, 60 tables. All those people, like, I pulled into the parking lot and my wife was like, are all these people here for the card show? And I'm like, probably most of them. So like, it's good. It's healthy for the hobby that people are involved. Might not be healthy for the people that spent $500,000 on a Justin Herbert card, but oh well, too bad for you.
Right. I mean, that's kind of my point too. It's like you have folks that went out, spent a lot of money, and then got out of it really quick. I look at my Brady collection, right? My Brady's haven't lost that much value, right? I don't have anything worth $100,000. So my Brady cards are mid to low end for the most part. Brady cards, they haven't lost that much value. Sure, a few bucks here and there, but like when you're talking about like his Super Bowl contenders ticket or whatever, that's lost a ton of value because the number of people that can afford to buy it have shrunk exponentially. Right. So you're not going to get over $1 million or whatever for a Brady playoff contenders Super Bowl ticket. You're just not, but you can still get $100 for his press pass rookie, and that's what it was. What, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, it wasn't that much more than that beyond like the massive spike in 2021. But that's a fair value for that card. So that hasn't moved that much,
Yeah, I agree 100%, Joe. And Mike, I love what you said. Healthy, like that. This hobby is healthy. Like it is. It is good for the hobby to see this, and it is proof that this is a hobby. It's about the collectibles. It's not necessarily about the money. The really cool thing about our hobby, compared to some other ones, is that we can take some of these collectibles that we have and we can sell them to get better collectibles, like or to get other new collectibles that are shinier and better, or whatever. But that's part of the fun of this hobby, and it's not just about the money. It's not just about getting rich off the hobby. It's about collecting, about having cool cards, and we're seeing more of that. Again, the health of the hobby. Talk about the number of people that were at that show yesterday, and the number of people like the Nationals set a record this past year. Like the hobby is plenty healthy. Like people
Atlantic
still love
City
this
would have
hobby.
set that record itself, except all the people that got shot and killed.
Yeah.
Yeah. They had to take those numbers off the roll.
Yep.
There's not like 100,000.
And then
Yeah.
All right. Well, I want to wrap things up very quickly this week. I don't know, EP. I don't know if you follow baseball cards at all or anything, but
what are these baseball cards you talk about?
Bowman Chrome was released this week, and there's a card in there that's causing quite a stir. It is the Bowman first of Babe Ruth. A lot of people online, first of all, pointing out the fact that there have been many other Babe Ruth cards put out by Topps, and like in a Bowman set. I think there was even a Bowman one before. Where do you stand on this first Bowman of Babe Ruth? Is it really like what do you think?
Well, first I'm going to give my stance on the card. I'm not going to go after it. It's not something that I really necessarily want. Second, I'm going to go after the people who are probably outraged, probably on social media, outraged. You're outraged by a 2023 Bowman Chrome card. Like, I don't like what are you doing with your life?
Yeah.
You're outraged by this.
Yeah,
like they made a card. It's like an insert card. It's a card. Like, just relax. I'm sure
it's like the people losing their mind over casting of like the Little Mermaid or something. It's like, okay, calm down, everyone. It's not the end of the world here.
If I pulled one, I'm gonna definitely get some retail of it. I'm probably not gonna buy any hobby stuff. I'll buy a retail box. If I pull that card, if I pull a refractor of that card, well, that's a really cool card. Because it's a Topps Chrome refractor, Bowman Chrome first. Yeah, cool idea, but it's not something I'm gonna add to my collection. I would probably sell it, but like, I don't understand the outrage. The outrage is ridiculous to me. Like, what are you doing with your life? If you're on social media, if you are so mad at this card that you're gonna go on social media and like, oh, I'm gonna tell everybody about this. Give me a break.
I've seen it too. But yeah, we'll wrap it up there. That while they may have a point, is it really that big a deal? No. Just relax. It'll be okay.
Let it go.
Change your life.
Let it go.
You're gonna wake up tomorrow morning. The sun is gonna come up just like every other day. All right, guys, that was a lot of fun this week, but we're gonna have to end it right here. And I will see you next week. Take care, guys.
See you, boys.
Adios.